December different. And you just switch.
Can we even see Peter amongst all the gifts filed sky high?
So I will call the December 11th meeting of the Trees and Greenery Committee to order. We have the minutes from the November meeting. Any
Accept.
comments on those minutes? I guess we'll accept them. Update on the city's ongoing tree maintenance and planting.
Is this where I talk about, because I don't have it in front of me, is there another section where we talk about our tree cruise achievements this year, or is this where we take care of that? Two different steps. Okay. Thank you, AJ. So here, yes, so business as usual. I think we've just moved away from all of our holiday setup. Obviously, the downtown tree was lit at the holiday parade. The tree got lit out here at City Hall, and all the other ornaments got hung, decorations put up. So yeah, we're slowly shifting back to our typical tree work as weather allows. Obviously today with the 2 inches of rain, we're not going to be doing too much. And as snow comes in, most of our crew is off doing snow maintenance for streets and all that. So yeah, we'll get as much done as we can as the weather allows. But planting plans are unchanged from when we last spoke. Everything is confirmed. No significant changes to our species selection as of yet, but I know usually some come in pretty late toward the end of January, but they're usually minor caliper size changes or slight species changes, but generally speaking, we're pretty locked in on that. Yeah, maintenance plans all set, planting plans all set. I think we're ready to move on to new business. So as we're, I know Dennis, we were talking about doing the having a public facing tree inventory, and we do have that. It is, to my understanding, it is live on the city website, and I would have loved to pull it up, but a little bit of technical difficulties and poor planning on my part. So I won't be able to, oh, maybe we can bring that up. But
Where would you find it?
so it'd be under the, if we go to Parks and Greenery, I think. Should be, oh, Urban Forestry up at the top. There you go. Tree viewer. So if you click that bold right there, yep.
My God, this is so cool. It's
Oh,
very
hold on, I need to go back to share so that people online aren't
Gotta get
missing out on this.
It's right on the top of the urban forestry
View,
under the,
share.
this is great.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah.
All right, there we go.
So
I
obviously,
apologize for those online.
so I think this is just a little bit of a, hey, this is how you kind of use the dashboard tools. But it's all very straightforward, and we can, if we click through the screen, we can. So from the left, you can obviously search for an address in the top left corner there. The next lower one would be, we'll just see what Peter types in. 196 South Street. Interesting.
Who's there?
So what the heck is this little tree?
Little Leaf Linden, your favorite tree
My
in the city.
Weeping Willow Linden.
She's lucky.
Oh, it is bizarre tree.
Fabulous.
Sorry.
No, you're good. So in the bottom left, no, excuse me, not bottom left, but under the address search bar, you may need to X out of your address just to, yeah, so there's a filter, that little filter icon on the left there. Yep, so you can search by common name, scientific name. There it goes. So a lot of this data, again, just to reiterate, is from when I believe it was AJ had some individuals out, what, like 10, greater than 10 years ago doing this.
Been a while.
So as previously mentioned,
15.
15 years ago, yeah. So it's a lot of historic data, right, that we've just kind of pulled in and then applied here. But as our tree crew goes around, and I'll get to this in a little bit, but as our tree crew goes around, they'll verify what they're working on is in fact represented here on the inventory, and we'll make any changes there at that point when we have, 3 crew members looking at it. We added all of our tree plantings from this spring to this list. I went through Market Square and just went through and pretty much did that, but in a local area. So future implementations, we'll be able to do that in parks. Just go through an entire park again, very canvassing essentially what we have. And then, obviously the implication is we can go through residential areas or tackle an entire street and just make our way down, but it takes a lot of time to do that sort of thing. So potentially our next year's intern, thank you very much, could help us with that, and that'd be great. So yeah, that's
Fabulous.
yeah. Obviously the little icon with the 4 squares, so that'll just give you a different base map. And then the palette and the paint and paintbrush, that's just for you if you wanted to draw a line or circle something. You can just kind of do a little quick edit. It doesn't save obviously, but if you then wanted to do like a print screen or something, it would save all your kind of scratch drawings on there. Yeah, that is live. Obviously, I think it comes with a caveat in that little paragraph that it's still a work in progress and it's changing all the time. And that if you're utilizing this thing and you see that something's wrong, you can't make changes to it, but you can reach out to us and we'll get out there, inspect what you have identified as an issue, and we'll look into it. Yeah, so that's that.
Don't go away from that. That is awesome.
Yeah.
Do you really want to retire?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Look at all the good things happening.
this is, and if somebody had an interest in some trees that they happen to have planted, like in the cemetery, or other place in the city, you could go and track those down. Oh,
So the other element of this that I wanted to talk about is obviously, we tracked all of our work for this entire year. And the tree crew is here. So we have Steve Burns, Fiona Curran, and Morgan Carver. That's our tree crew that does all of our work. And I have some hard numbers for you guys, because I'm really happy with what we've accomplished this year. So this isn't public, so it's not something that we can really share, but it's just an internal dashboard for me to monitor all the work that they accomplished. So for clearance pruning, we have 238 completed work orders. We planted 153 trees. We removed 153 trees. We did a complete prune, so that includes 1-inch DBH deadwood clearance, hazard, and structural. We did 45 complete prunes, 18 hazard prunes, 13 retrenchment prunes, and smaller degrees of others. So essentially it adds up to 700 completed work orders this year.
So for
Yeah.
perspective, tree request work orders are, I think, number 2 after missed garbage collection. And this was getting that information through the Click and Fix was the impetus to work with Corin at the time, and then Chuck, and now with Max to augment the crew and to try to beef up, because it was such an important thing that people were asking for. So it's I'm always impressed with the work that Max does and Corin for him. So we're very fortunate to have such a talented group of arborists.
Yes,
We
we
are.
are. Totally.
Yeah. So yeah, but I give all the credit to the 3 back there in the room. Just a great crew, really thorough, take pride in their work. So I'm really proud of them and obviously everything they've accomplished this year. So
Can you walk us through the process? We determine that a tree can go. How do you select the time implementing that order?
Can you, like, when we have a tree removal request here?
Right.
Sorry.
How quickly can we respond and how do we schedule it?
I think usually it's based on what the issue is with the tree. So if it is some kind of structural issue that we shouldn't wait on, that gets removed relatively quickly. If it is just a tree in relative decent structure, but poor vigor or whatever the case is, I usually, I try and get them as quickly as we can, but as I hope this illustrates, we do a lot more than just the removal. So things certainly come up and the schedule absolutely gets adjusted on a daily basis, but generally speaking,
Did you get those pines out of Hissel Park?
No, we have not. So that's the thing too. It's, I don't want to say that's a low priority area, because, you know, it's obviously a playground in that, but there are no significant structural issues with those trees. They appear to be in good vigor. It's just that they're buried way too deep, and we're kind of just now waiting to have some
Three
free
little ones are
time.
dead as a doornail.
Are they dead? Yeah, I haven't been out there in a couple months, so for what it's worth. But yeah, no, yeah, I know we have quite a bit of that Hislop Park is written on my whiteboard for removals. Yeah, it's just a matter of finding the time and getting out there and getting those done.
Good community cleanup.
So who, to start a tree pruning request or whatever, who do you call? What number do you call? Just the regular public works?
I feel like my number's out there pretty good, but yeah, obviously,
You can call, I'm sorry, you can call
Yeah.
603-427-1530.
I don't-
That'll get you to the dispatcher. You can also go through the city's website, through Click and Fix. So there's a number of ways you can do that. You can also, I don't know what your, I don't give out the personal cell phone or the cell phone information to the foreman. But the 427-1530 number is the best way to get a hold of work order if you do not have access to the internet.
a lot of different avenues for people to reach out.
I used to say that I for 40 years had known every city councilor and most of the city officials, but the most important person in terms of needing something like that done was Peter Osborne, who was the dispatcher. And I said, mainly knowing the mayor or the assistant mayor, that's nice, but if you needed something, pick up my trash or this or that, and that was always, Peter's long since passed away, but it was knowing that number is always helpful.
It's good.
Wow, this is incredible. The 700 work orders. And 153 plans, and I think that probably the city has always done a pretty high number of removals, but I don't know what point the plantings started to catch up with the number of removals.
I was pleased to see that we broke even on all that.
Is that typical? What you?
No, I think we're usually hovering around 85 to 90 removals, at least from just anecdotally, right? But
Yeah.
certainly more from ash, that's just been kind of a staple at this point. And a lot of these numbers too, for the removals, generally smaller trees dead along roadsides. So when we go off and do some kind of project, I'm thinking of Emery Street. Do we all know where, sort of behind the new Franklin School area off of Maplewood? Anyway, so we had a request that there were a couple dead trees there. And when I got out there, there were actually quite a few just dead trees along the side of the road. So, projects like that, we probably did something like 20 removals in that one day because they were all dead and small and whatever the case was. So yeah, I attribute some of these numbers to that, like projects like that, but these aren't, it's not 153, 20 plus DBH trees. It's a good variety, for size of tree that we removed.
Do you spend much time getting rid of invasives? I see some wicked bittersweet, just squelchy now, so many
Yeah.
sections.
Yeah,
Is there time for that or is it?
we don't really, if we see it, we'll just cut the root not the root, but we'll cut the vine at the
Yeah.
base or something, but we don't spend a lot of time pulling them out or really anything
So-
like that.
I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but
Here we go.
a sixth grade teacher
No, it's okay.
is interested in harnessing her kids to do some invasive removal stuff. So
Cool.
I'll connect you with her.
Yeah, absolutely. The other thing that isn't really well represented is our knotweed program. So there's a whole layer on the inventory that just deals with knotweed, and we don't really chart the work order or any kind of work for that because we contract that out, but there's quite a bit of that as well. And we don't also, another big work sort of load that we have through summer or late spring, summer and fall is tree watering. So, if we're spending 2 days a week and it's, all 3 of our workers doing that, that's a lot of man hours, but it's, we're not going to complete a work order every time we water a tree. That would slow us down. And it just, we just know you know, I can just estimate the number of times we've watered and count that up. So we don't necessarily need to chart that, I suppose.
The city council has requested that we add additional resources to the tree planting program. And it starts at 40,000 and it'll escalate annually to eventually $100,000. And what we're anticipating using that money is to help enhance the downtown plantings. So the areas that have very difficult soils and really lack of area for root breakout. You know, we'd look at putting in civicels and improving those plantings so that they have a better chance of success. So I look forward to working with Max and crew. We'll probably contract some of that out. Because that's, you know, unless our folks who do excavations and stuff have time, which is tough these days, so.
That's a great sustainability initiative. That's great.
So Peter, how will that, I know the downtown, we I think touched on this last month. Doing any work downtown with the Market Square redo or whatever's in the plan to revisit Market Square. So as far as tree work, will you put that on hold or will you do this, the new money that's been earmarked for this kind of work?
I wouldn't think we'd put it on hold. I think we would, you know, definitely look at it in the lens of, you know, try not to preclude better things as we go forward. So don't plant a big tree in an area that we know there's gonna be, you know, a lot of work. So don't invest the monies there. Look at the perimeter of the area and invest in those areas until we have good definition of what the Market Square is gonna be. And that's gonna be a series of requests to council for investment. So we're looking at, you know, every other year to set aside $1 million to start putting projects together for that area. Not one big project.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yep.
You have a line item in your budget when you outsource?
Yes.
Yeah, large hazardous tree removals, I have a line item for that, and then also for our knotweed control. Those are typically, those are the only two I have for contractors.
Are some of the large planters downtown, are those managed by the city or are those private?
They're in,
It depends, right?
yeah, I would just say generally within the sidewalk, yes, it's something the city has oversight on, but places like help me out here, across from Von Mall.
Fort Rock Place.
Fort Walk Place, yeah,
That's
thank you.
private.
Yeah,
It's private.
yeah,
That's private.
yep. So that whole block, we generally consider that to be Fort Walk Place.
I think we'll see some of that with the, like, if the Sheridan site redesign gets done, like, you know, they'll, I would assume in their site plan will be
Yes.
their responsibility for maintenance of
Right.
trees and, or like a good example too is where Tor is, how they're, you know, gonna be putting those apartments that, and we approved that big green,
Mhm.
you know, that will be their responsibility to make sure that that is maintained to that
Mhm.
approved level.
Yes.
Okay, anything else on 2024 in review?
When you chip up those ash trees, where do you dispose of those chips?
They just go to the dump. AJ, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the typical chipper output for chip is of a decent size to,
Yeah, as
long
as you're keeping the chipper adjusted and that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Worms themselves are not gonna survive in the chips. And then as soon as those chips degrade or start to dry out and all of, you know, essentially the capacity is not gonna be there to sustain life. The biggest thing is during flight season. So March, early June, you know, whenever spring, 30 days after spring gets here and it's good and warm. Is when the activity really starts. So if you can take down the ashes in the winter time, it's perfect.
Mhm.
And the wood that's coming to our place, you know, the guys put it off to the side, Norman takes it,
Hmm.
and it's getting burned this
perfect,
season. So I mean, it's gonna be gone.
great.
Okay, thank you. Any old business?
Well, I would like to just say, aside from thanking you, Peter, I would also like to thank our invisible person who takes the minutes every month, Joanne, who we never see. We used to, I think,
Yes.
years ago.
Notes.
But I would just like to thank her for deciphering our conversations and
Yes.
making sense out of all of it. And she does a fine job and it's been a pleasure.
Is Dick
Working
still
with her through
editing them?
email.
I'm working with
I
her.
think you're doing most of the
Yeah.
editing now.
Yeah.
And I hope the new chair will be better at identifying people at the meeting for Joanne's sake. Aspen didn't do a very good job.
Also, I'd be remiss if I didn't acknowledge Stephanie Secord,
Mhm.
and she helps out making sure that things get posted properly and so Terry helps.
And Max, I mean, puts together a list and there's a little bit of history on each one. And I mean, for years it was, I don't know, there was some sort of a list that somebody gave me and we put it together, but Max does, I shouldn't admit that he does 90% of the work.
I want to also say that the trees look fabulous this year. The lights are so artfully distributed and the space between the lights are just,
Easy.
they're kind of designer trees. They're really awesome. I appreciate it.
Yeah, our city looks
But
wonderful.
unbelievable, and the
Yes.
ornaments downtown, it's just wonderful. It makes me so proud to live here.
We do a tree watch at Cup of Joe every year. We have regulars that sit in the window and watch it and like send us video. I should put it all together for you guys, because I mean, you guys know how much work it is, but it is, like Deb said, it's delightful to watch it all like over the week and a half period of you guys just busting your butts.
is.
It's pretty great to watch.
And it's very seldom when I walk around town, very seldom do I not see Steven.
Mm.
Yeah. If well, Steven grew up in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
He played in my backyard as a little kid, so I know him quite well. So he's a face that I recognize, and he's always out doing something, for the city. So appreciate everyone's hard work.
Mr. Chairman, there is a participant online. I'm not sure if Jerry, do you have anything you'd like to add or question?
Okay,
Carrie.
Carrie.
I'm sorry.
Maybe Carrie
No.
was
Very well.
watching because they know we have an opening. We have some openings on this committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well. Just appoint someone.
Yeah,
Well, we're gonna have an opening
we're
in
gonna have another opening.
January.
Don't we have do we?
We just approved
Scott McDermott.
Scott, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
When does he start coming to meetings?
McDermott? Scott McDermott? You're not Scott McDermott.
No. This would,
and actually, I would be remiss if we didn't do a public comment period per se, but if the public wants to say anything or speak to any topic.
Excuse me. Not specifically, my name's Ian Hanley, live over in
Ian,
Atlantic Heights.
Ian, I'm so sorry. We just need you to come up and just say your name for the
The
record.
public gazing.
Ian Hanley, live over in Atlantic Heights. On the topic of people interested in this committee, just come and see what you do.
Yeah.
Oh,
Actually interested in joining, so.
Cool.
this is a good way to do
You
it.
would go down to the city clerk's office. Put your name in.
Discriminating.
In the book.
Yeah, sign the book.
Was wondering if the crew, do you guys get asked funny questions, or what would be maybe one of your funniest little odd questions?
What about the Christmas tree? People think that it grows there all year round, that
You're cutting it down. What are you doing?
Really? Yeah, that's the kind of things I'm curious about, what you got asked.
It's a miracle.
What's the other most prominent question that you guys are asked whenever you're setting up a work site or starting?
Every time, why is the street coming down?
Yeah.
It's not. I promise it's not, unless you know about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Or we would have tried to let you know.
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
And now with this new snazzy door hanger,
Yeah.
another avenue to communicate with citizens, which is it's communication.
Well, any other old business?
Well, I wouldn't say your old business, Peter, but.
Maybe new business, your new business.
So I guess we can conclude the meeting.
I'll make a motion to conclude meeting and thank you for all your time and effort.
I
Thank you,
second
Peter.
that.
Thank you,
Thank you
Peter.
for all your
Words,
time. It'll
really.
be a different